What is opacity? Well, it's actually not that complicated at all, and I'm going to show you right now. So I've got this document here to help us. I've just got 3 artboards, and we're just going to do a little bit of practicing. So first of all, opacity essentially is the transparency of an object, text, element, photo. Anything can have opacity. Any element in your design has an opacity setting, whether that's ranging from 100 to 0%. For example, I have this text right here to help us out, and right now the color is black and the opacity is at 100%. Now if I click this and I put in something like 20, we're going to see that this matches this color of this square right here. Now these are just blocks that I've put here that are helping us see the different levels of opacity. You can see this is 40, this is 50, but they're all just black squares, and I've changed the opacity of them and put the number of the opacity so that you can see right here. So if I take this and I put this at 5%, obviously you're going to see less of it. It is not gray. It appears gray because when you take black and you just dial it back, naturally you're going to get gray. If you take this blue right here and you dial this back, you're going to get a more faded version of that blue. And it also depends on what is the background of what you're putting it on. So if I take this artboard right here and I made this black, it would change how the transparency appears on the artboard. So this light blue has now changed to a dark navy blue because of the background. So keep that in mind when you're playing with opacity and trying out different transparencies. So just another thing, I can select this row of squares and I could change this color to red, and you could see as it gets down in opacity, the red becomes lighter, and that's because of the color of the background right here is white. And so this red, this vibrant, bold red, is going to fade and become a very faint pinkish, and then inevitably nothing the lower you get in opacity. Similarly with this group, I can select this and press blue, and it's going to be the same thing. It's important to note that opacity is also going to affect the way that colors display and fall on top of each other. So for example, if we go to our colors artboard right here and I take this red circle and I lower the opacity of this to something like 50%, I can now fade this into this blue circle, and you're getting this kind of purple in the middle. And this is just a fun, different kind of design element that you can use in your projects. And it's creating this kind of illusion of them blending together. So another cool thing that we can do is practice this with photos and different colored backgrounds. So say for example, I take this text right here and I bring it down over top of my artboard and center it up on this picture. And let's just change this to something like drinks. And this looks cool, but we could change the opacity of this so that you could see the words and the drinks behind it. So I could change this to something like 50%, and now that drink behind this photo is starting to bleed through the text, as well as the text is falling on top of the photo, and it becomes a little bit more immersive. We could try something like 30%. Again, it really depends on the text color itself, not just the opacity. So this is black at 30%, but if I chose this and made it white, now it's really, really translucent because it's on a light background. So I could take this, put this back up to 50%, and this is starting to look really, really cool. So it really just takes a little bit of trial and error. I could also do something with color. So I could change this white to, let's say, a red. That's cool and fun. We could try something like a blue, and it's just creating these different kind of effects. That's kind of funky. Maybe lighten the opacity up on this. And I could definitely see this being some sort of like email header or something like that. You could use this in a bunch of different ways. Similarly to this, we can take a shape like this, make the color of it, let's say that red, send it to the back, and now our photo is on top, and we can change the opacity of the photo itself instead of the text or the object. So let's say I wanted to put this at 50. Now this photo is bleeding over top of the shape in the background. I could also make the background here blue, and it's going to do the same kind of thing. Depending upon what color the shape is in the background, it's going to have that effect. I'm just gonna go back to our little drinks advertisement because I think that's cool. So to finish up, here is a little project. This isn't an amazing design, but it shows different levels of opacity and how they could be incorporated into a design. So up here, this text is at 100% opacity. This text is at 60. I've got some stars here. This one's at 100. We've got one at 60 and one at 40. That one could maybe even go down a little bit more. And it just makes it more dynamic versus all of these being the same opacity together at 100. So this feels very, very flat, and something like this feels a little bit more dynamic. Also, to avoid any comments of how did you get the glass to go on top of the text? Well, this is just two different images. There's one behind and one on top, and the one that's on top, I just used the AI background remover to remove the background from the image and then place that on top of my text to create this kind of depth of field. Well, that is opacity. I hope this video was helpful for you. If I missed anything or you have any other questions, some practical design tips or terms, comment down below and let us know how we can help you. If you haven't tried out Kittl yet, we have a promo code for you in the description to get a percentage off a pro plan. And if you don't want to worry about that, you can also just sign up for free and try it today. If you've watched until now, thank you so much. Please hit that subscribe button and leave a like, and maybe stick around and watch some of our other videos. That is all for now, and we will see you in the next one.